Hello everyone and welcome back to Fires of Kaladesh MTG. Today we're going to be taking a look at Chatterfang Squirrel General and my quite casual commander deck I built for him. Obviously there's a lot of different options you can go for with Chatterfang. He's quite a broad commander. Obviously you can go Squirrel Tribal, you can go Token based, you can go Aristocrat. I've gone for a bit of Squirrel Tribal with a bit of tokens combined. So let's go over some of the important cards. So let's start as always with a couple of the lands which I'm putting into this one. Do consider them quite special ones. Start with the Avenmeir, Cradle of Growth. It's a legendary land, and each land is a forest in addition to its other land types. So obviously not only is this going to help you out when it comes to mana fixing, but obviously with Chatterfang's Forest Walk ability, he's going to be practically unblockable. So obviously he's being able to swing out for commander damage all the time with no blocks is absolutely lovely. And the other one which I highly recommend for Chatterfang is Swarmyard. It's a land, taps for colourless. You can tap to regenerate target insect, rat, spider or squirrel. So it's just really nice to be able to save potentially Chatterfang or if not one of your other creatures at any point. Okay, so we've only got the one Planeswalker. And the one which I've gone for is a Garrick Primal Hunter for 2 and 3 green. He's a legendary Planeswalker. Starts on 3. +1, you can create a 3/3 green beast creature token. -1, draw cards equal to the greatest permanent creature you control. And then -6, create a 6/6 green worm creature token for each land you control. Obviously, all the tokens you can make in this deck are all the better with Chatterfang out. So obviously any kind of token enablers are really quite useful in this one for you. And next let's move on to a few of the selected artifacts. Starting of course with that amazing Chitter Spitter. So it's 2 and a green, and at the beginning of your upkeep you may sacrifice a token. If you do, you put an acorn counter on Chitter Spitter. Squirrels are going to get +1/+1 for each acorn counter, and you can pay a green and tap to create a 1/1 green squirrel. Obviously with Chatterfang out, you can sacrifice one of your squirrel tokens or write a token during your upkeep. Tap, create another one, and obviously with Chatterfang you'd be doubling up. So you're never going to be at a loss with this one. Replicating Ring, I find is always nice for the mana fixing, but more importantly, if you can get it to the point where you do get those replicants, then obviously they could be coming with a whole host of squirrels as well. So quite a nice little mana rock, I thought. Stoneforge Masterwork is a rather nice tribal piece of equipment for only 1 to cast, 2 to equip, and the equipped creature is going to get +1/+1 for each other creature you control that shares a creature type with it. The Academy Manufactor I highly recommend for any token-based deck, whether it be tokens in general or if you're just doing like a clue, food or a treasure deck. It's a 3 to cast for 1/3, and if you create a clue, food or treasure, instead you're going to create one of each. Next up is Liquimetal Talk. I really like this one. It's only 2 to cast, you can tap for a colourless. You can also tap to make target non-land permanent and artifact in addition to its other types until end of turn. Obviously, if you do run a lot of artifact removal, just being able to remove one of their enchantments, creatures, or anything really. It's a nice option, as well as being able to ramp. And then lastly, recommend this in all little swinging decks, is a Bow of Nylea. For 1 and 2 green, your attacking creatures are going to have Death Touch, and then for 1 green and tap, you can choose one, put a +1/+1 counter on a target creature, or deal 2 damage to target creature with flying, or gain 3 life, or up to 4 target cards from your graveyard and the bottom of your library in any order. So let's have a look at the creatures then, always an important one. We'll start off with the actual squirrels themselves. So we have Squirrel Mob for 1 and 2 green is a 2/2, and he's going to get +1/+1 for each other squirrel on the battlefield. Deep Forest Hermit is another nice one for 3 and 2 green. He's a 1/1, unfortunately he has the Vanish in 3, but as he enters he's going to create you 4 squirrels, and squirrel's going to get +1/+1 while he's on the field as well. Ravenous Squirrel is a rather lovely one for either 1 black or green. He's a 1/1, and whenever you sacrifice an artifact or creature he's going to get a +1/+1 counter. And then you can pay 1 a black and a green to sack an artifact or creature to gain a life and draw a card. Draykeeper is another token creator, so for 3 a black and a green, he's a 2/2 elf druid, and when he enters the battlefield, you can create 2 green squirrel tokens, and pay 3 and a black to give squirrels you control +1/+0 and menace until end of turn. Squirrel Wrangler, 2 and 2 green for a 2/2. You can pay a green and 1 to sacrifice a land, put 2 green squirrels into play, or pay 1 and a green to sacrifice lands and give all your squirrels +1/+1 until end of turn. Skyward Colony is another little common one for 1 and a green, 2/2 with reach, and he's going to get +2/+2 if you control 8 or more lands. Crowson Beast, and this lovely artwork here, is a 3 and a green for a 1/1. He has Threshold, so he's going to get +7/+7 as long as you have 7 or more cards in your graveyard. Toski, Bearer of Secrets, should really be in any squirrel deck, as he's absolutely lovely. For 3 and a green, you get a 1/1 indestructible creature that can't be countered. He attacks every combat if able, and whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Nested Shambler is another little one for 1 to cast. He's a 1/1 zombie, but when he dies, you're going to create X tapped 1/1 green squirrels, where X is his power. Not the best, but beggars can't be choosers when it comes to squirrels, unfortunately. Underworld Hermit is 4 and 2 black. He's a 3/3 human peasant, and essentially he is your Squirrel Gary. So whenever he enters the battlefield, create a number of 1/1 green squirrel creature tokens equal to your devotion to black. Squirrel Sovereign is up next for 1 and a green. He's a 2/2 and he gives all your other squirrels +1/+1. And then onto the trees. So for squirrels and tree folk, as there do seem to be a decent amount of synergy between the two at the moment. I'm going to slowly try and remove the trees as hopefully more and more squirrels become out. So we've got a Deadwood Tree Folk for 5 and a green. He's a 3/6. He's got Vanishing 3. And when he comes into play or leaves play, return another target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Scurry Oak is a lovely one in this. For 2 and a green, you get a Tree Folk 1/2 with Evolve. And whenever you put 1 or more +1/+1 counters on Scurry Oak, you can create a green squirrel creature. This works particularly well with the Ivy Lane Denizen. So 3 and a green for a common 2/3, and whenever another green creature enters the battlefield under control, you put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. So obviously that comes in, you get a +1/+1 counter, you get a squirrel, Ivy Lane Denizen triggers again, you get a squirrel, on and on and on until you've got an endless board of squirrels. Really nice little simple combination in that with those two. Next tree is the Orchard Strider. He's a 6/4, and as he enters the battlefield, you can create 2 food tokens, and he's also got basic land cycling. Wicker Bough Elder is a lovely tree folk for 3 and a green. He's a 4/4, but he enters with a -1/-1 counter. You can pay a green to remove that, though, and destroy target artifact or enchantment. Twin Veil Tree Folk is 5 and a green for a 6/5. He's got Oaken Boon as his sorcery adventure. For 3 and a green, you can put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature. He himself is a 6/5. Warden of the Woods is a vigilant 5/7 for 4 and 2 green, and whenever it becomes the target of a spell or ability and opponent controls, you can draw 2. Cankor Abomination is a good one if you get it earlier on in the game. So 2 and with 2 black or green. You get a 6/6, but he enters the battlefield, choose an opponent, and then he'll get a -1/-1 counter for each creature that player controls. Gnarled Professor is nothing amazing, I'll be honest, but for 2 and 2 green, you're getting a 5/4 Trample, which I think is just a nice little ability there for the casting cost. As he enters the battlefield, learn, which isn't great in Commander, but it does mean obviously you can discard and draw if you want to. Forgotten Ancient is 3 and a green for a 0/3 elemental, and whenever a player casts a spell, you can put a +1/+1 counter on Forgotten Ancient. At the beginning of your upkeep, you can move any number of the +1/+1 counters, from the Forgotten Ancient onto your other creatures. Obviously, a good idea with this one is to let it build up, move those +1/+1 counters onto Chatterfang himself, and with obviously his Forest Walk, you'd be swinging for massive commander damage. Unblockable, hopefully. Creekwood Liege is 1 and then 3 black and or green for a 2/2. You're going to give all your black creatures +1/+1, your green creatures +1/+1, and at the beginning of your upkeep you're going to put a 1/1 black and green worm creature onto the battlefield. So obviously not only is he a nice Anthem effect, he's a token generator as well. Crashing Drawbridge is just simple but nice. So for 2 colours you get a 0/4 defender. You can tap to give your creatures you control haste until end of turn. So obviously again works really well with the Scurry Oak and Ivy Lane Denizen. Make infinite squirrel tokens and then suddenly tap, give them all haste, win out the game. Grimwald the Dread Sower is 1, a black and a green for a legendary Troll Shaman, 3/3. He's got Trample. At the beginning of your end step, each player is going to create a 1/1 green plant creature token. And whenever a creature token dies, you put a +1/+1 counter on him. Obviously great synergy with this guy in this deck. Avenger Zendikar really does go without saying. So 5 and 2 green for a 5/5, and as he enters he's going to create a 0/1 green plant creature token for each land you control. And then whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you can put a +1/+1 counter on each plant creature you control. That's the bench one again. And then last of all is the Tireless Provisioner. So for 2 and a green, he's got landfall 3/2. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, create a food token or a treasure token. Odds are you're probably going to be going for the treasure on this one for the mana ramp, but it's just nice to be able to have that food as an option as well if you are getting low on life. Next up, we're going to move on to enchantments. I'm wanting quite a lot in this one, to be honest with you. Start things off with a simple little win con. It's Colossification for 5 and 2 green. It's an enchantment aura. As it enters the battlefield, tap enchanted creature, but the creature is going to get +20/+20. So obviously really nice. Put that on Chatterfang. Unblockable if opponent controls forests. That's just a really simple win. Sylvan Anthem is a basic Anthem effect for green creatures to get +1/+1, but whenever a green creature enters, you can scry one. So having that top deck manipulation is always nice. Gravestorm is a rather lovely black enchantment for 3 black, and at the beginning of your upkeep, target opponent may remove a card in his or her graveyard from the game. If that player doesn't, you may draw a card. Really fond of this one. It's nice to be able to find a draw engine in black where you're not actually losing life. Should really go in any token deck. It's a Beastmaster Ascension. So for 2 and a green, you get an enchantment. Whenever a creature you control attacks, you can put a quest counter on Beastmaster Ascension. And then as long as this has 7 or more quest counters, creatures you control are going to get +5/+5. Another card draw engine here. 2, a black and a green for an enchantment, where at the beginning of each end step, if a creature dies this turn, you can draw a card. Squirrel Sanctuary is another one from Modern Horizons 2. It's a 1 to cast uncommon green enchantment. As it enters the battlefield, you can create a squirrel. And whenever a non-token creature you control dies, you can pay 1. Return this to your hand, so it's just replayable squirrel tokens. Druid's Call is a pricey one, but rather essential I thought. For 1 and a green, you get an enchanted creature. And whenever that enchanted creature is dealt damage, the controller of the creature is going to put that many 1/1 green squirrel creature tokens into play. Obviously you've got a few different routes you can go with this one in the deck. So if you've got Chatterfang out with the Colossification on him, smack on the Druid's Call as well if your opponent hasn't got any forests. Or if not, a great option as well would be Toski. Obviously being indestructible, he's going to be able to absorb all that damage and create you absolutely loads of squirrel tokens. Verdant Embrace is another enchantment aura for 3 and 2 green. It's going to get +3/+3, and at the beginning of each upkeep, not just yours, put a 1/1 green Saproling creature token into play. Squirrel Nest is another enchantment aura for 2 green and 1. Enchant land, and then it has tap, put a 1/1 green squirrel creature token on the battlefield. Moldavine Reclamation is another card draw. So for 3, a black and a green, whenever a creature you control dies, you gain life and draw a card. Revel in Riches is absolutely stunning in this deck. Not only is it a really simple, nice and easy win con, with whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, create a colourless treasure artifact token. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 10 or more treasures, you win. So you've got a lot of different ways to produce treasures in this deck. Not only is it obviously going to potentially ramp you, potentially win the game, but if you've got Chatterfang out, each time a creature dies, you could be getting a squirrel as well as a treasure. And then last of all, yes, it's expensive, but you need it. It's a doubling season, so for 4 and a green you get an enchantment. If an effect would put one or more creature tokens, into play under your control, it puts twice that many into play. And if an effect would put one or more counters on a permanent you control, you could put twice that many counters on the permanent. Absolutely brilliant. Yes, it's very expensive and just seems to be racking up and going up all the time. But you're not going to get better value when it comes to tokens. Moving on to the sorceries. We've only got the one land grab, which might seem a bit weird and green. But we're going for a Temperate Discovery, just to be able to give you that option to be able to get out either the Avenmeir Cradle or the Swarmyard. Doesn't really matter if anyone else is going to go for the option or not. Just being able to pay 4 to be able to get either Regenerate for one of your creatures, or turn anything into Forest. It's just nice, to be honest with you. You can see quite a common theme with my sorceries here. So Root Out is 2 and a green. We can destroy a target artifact or enchantment. Yeah, you're paying a little bit more, but you do get that Investigate as well. So you get a clue token. And potentially, obviously, squirrels as well. Similar. Crack Open is destroy target artifact or enchantment and create a treasure token. Chatterstorm, of course, is a sorcery for 1 and a green. Be much better as an instant, let's be honest, but you create a 1/1 green squirrel creature token and it has Storm. Chatter of the Squirrel is again another token generator, so you create 1 for 1, but you can flashback it as well. Acorn Harvest, 3 and a green for 2 squirrels and flashback again. Contract Killing is an expensive kill spell at 3 and 2 black for sorcery speed. But not only do you get the kill, but you get 2 treasures at the same time, which obviously works with a lot of the other parts of the deck. Corpse Hatch will destroy a creature and give you 2 0/1 Eldrazi spawns that can be sacked for 1 colourless mana. A few tutors, Diabolic Tutor, just because of the fact it's a nice, cheap, money-wise card. Razgeth's Right, again, nice cheap price. Profane Tutor, just because I've been incredibly lucky to pull a few of these. I'm not a massive fan of the suspend mechanic, but on a tutor, it can be quite nice in all honesty, because it can give you a couple of turns to really think, well, I thought I needed this particular card, suddenly things change around, and you need to search for something else instead. And then, really simple one, Regrowth is 1 green and 1 to return a card from your graveyard to your hand. Road of Return is 2 green for return a permanent from your graveyard to your hand, or put your commander into your hand for command zone. You can entwine it for both. And of course, a Balagad Recovery is a flippy land/sorcery, which lets you return a target card from your graveyard to your hand. And then last of all, we have the instants. Again, a fair few. Start things off with Verdant Command. It's 1 and a green. Instant, choose 2. Target player creates 2 tapped 1/1 green squirrels. Counter target loyalty ability of a planeswalker. Exile target card from a graveyard, or target player gains 3 life. Life gain, probably not what you could be using this one for, let's be honest. Being able to counter a loyalty ability of a planeswalker is always nice. And every deck needs a bit of graveyard hate. Fungal Rebirth is another return card from the graveyard, but if a creature died this turn, you're also going to create yourself 2 1/1 green sapling creature tokens. Reclaim is just a simple 1 green instant to put target card from your graveyard on top of your library. Death Sprout is a kill spell and a land grab in 1. Bake into a Pie is a 2 and 2 black instant to destroy target creature and make a food token. Golgari Charm is a black and a green for choose 1. All creatures get -1/-1 until end of turn. Probably not going to be that one. Destroy target enchantment or regenerate each creature you control. Harness Infinity is one which is causing a Bit of chatter in my play group at the moment. People can't decide whether or not this is absolutely brilliant or not. So for 1, 3 black and 3 green, yes, it's expensive. You're going to exchange your hand and your graveyard and then exile this. So obviously, in that late game, this could potentially turn the tide around and let you win. And then last of all is a Wrap in Vigor. For 1 and a green, you can regenerate each creature you control. Just nice to be able to have a couple of effects like that. If someone does do a board wipe, you've managed to build up a decent amount of tokens and you potentially can win out, but you're just waiting for that next turn. Well, I hope everyone liked what they saw today. Next up, I'm probably going to be giving a look at Asmora Nomadica Daistina Kuldika, the Food Creation, Modern Horizons 2 Commander in Rakdos. Any others you'd like to see from Modern Horizons 2, please leave them in the comments, and I will try to get around to each of them. Look forward to seeing you next time. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe.